Hi, my name is Colin Messler. I am a student at BY Hawaii. I am studying visual arts major as graphic design, and I am studying psychology and entrepreneurship for the minors. So for today, I'm going to share about what are we going to focus about, who is the entrepreneurship. So I found one of the really interesting about the entrepreneur is JK Rowling. He's the one of the author of the Harry Potter book. Basically, that she didn't build a business or a company, but she made it a set of goals, or she made it her own books to create, to sell and buy. So I'm going to share some information from my article, and I might give you a summary about this. So JK Rowling is the English writer who is the author of all 7 books of Harry Potter novels, and she has raised the fame and fortune that inspires. So back in June 2011, she has been sold over 450 million books that have been translated in 67 languages. And the final books in the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, it was the best-selling books of all time. I think that's just really cool because we're learning about her and how she started selling of her books was inspired for her, and learning what is the entrepreneur about her of her selling books. I want to share a little bit about her lifetime, what she has been struggled about trying to find of her making money, or how she trying to find a way to save in her life. So in the back in 1990s, however, she has been so many difficult for her. She wasn't in the back in 1990s. She wasn't a popular an author, or she didn't have enough money to have. So she has been a single home by her daughter. She's been struggling. She got divorced with her husband, and she tried to figure out what to do, and until how she started finding her career, how she started finding her own to create a book. So there was the one question, how she got from there to where is she today, is a story to fill with the invaluable tips for today for entrepreneurs. So it's basically we talk about how she created a book of the Harry Potter to order to help people, or to get people attention to get her selling books. So I'm going to give you, there's 5 tips of how she started of her entrepreneur. So the first tip was, don't rush to roll out your product. I think Rowling had make first and second book. She wants to make sure she wants to start finding a way if this book will apply to help very good entrepreneur, or giving this book to the owner of the business, like the publisher, to see if they accept it. But don't go so fast. You want to make the book more considered, or make it the progress that look good, great examples. So that's a part of it. That's the first tip. You want to test it about this book to share to the owners of the business so that they can understand about the selling of the book. So that's a part of your product. The second tip would be when is the great idea grabs you, grab back. I think this one is she said the great ideas are mistakenly powerful in their announcements and comes when the least expected. I think there's a quote that she said, where are the ideas for Harry Potter actually come from? And she said, I couldn't tell you. I was traveling on the train between Manchester and London. It just popped in my head. I spent 4 hours thinking about what Hogwarts was like. By the time I got off the King's Cross, many of the characters in the book have already been invented. So for these quotes, it will help you to understand what is your great idea that will grab you or grab back. So you try to find a place, if you're going somewhere, going to travel, going to a restaurant, going to meet your family or friends, and you started thinking in your head, or you're watching movies like that, you will start thinking, pops up your head, oh, I want this idea to create a book. So that's a part of your steps, and will help you to create your own story instead of using other people's story. That's just a part of the great idea. For tip 3 is persevere. I think persevere is just basically learn what you learned about in the past, how you struggle, and how you struggle being, I didn't have enough money, I have my kids with me, how I make money to save our lives, or how to pay the bills, and she was trying to rush those stuff until later, and she tried to figure out, okay, she created first book, and she started to realize, okay, what can I do with my first book to give the people to publish for her? And there was a really interesting story about this one. The quote about persevere of her life. She completed her manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is the first book. Typing out on an old manual typewriter, she handed the book up to the 12 publishing houses. They all rejected. Rowling never gave up. She did not stop, and just the best life was hard. Despite all the changes and step back, she was experiencing carry on, and she persevered. As a small business owner, we should do it well to keep her example in mind. So for this sample, will tell us how hard it for her is to make sure what's your persevere, and never thinking yourself give up. You want to keep going, keep doing, try different something else, try different people. You want to show off your book so the people can find your interest. So that's a part of the steps. So the first step is don't let anyone sidetrack you from your goals. I did think there was one quote that tells you there was a really small publisher agreed to publish the first book, which is for her book. And they give her advice how will you make this book to make it? Is it for an adult book or is it for a children's book? How will you create those stuff? And the goal is to create this book as represent a children's book, and how will you use that book to sell more people, to sell to the people to get more money. That's a part of your goal. But don't let other people try to give you more advice, because people are trying to take your idea, will take your money. You don't want that, but sometimes you don't want maybe you don't want to trust with someone else's. At the very last one, tip 5, each of us has a unique contribution to make the, let me start over. Each of us has a unique contribution to make the world. I think this one is really fun one. It basically talks about how JK Rowling never went searching for the kind of success that she received. I think she made it her own challenge to make it a best ability to figure out herself, never give up herself. She made it a wonderful novels in the world, and she made it a really high interest of his money, and she was so amazing. And I think this author will help us to understand how she started making her own books. And I think this entrepreneurship can be anything. It doesn't have to be a business company. And I think entrepreneur, it can be anything, like you creating your own product, creating your own book, creating sometimes business, but business is to build your own company to sell things. But entrepreneur will help you to understand what is our success, what are the goals, what are your unique ideas that will you give out to the people to get your attention. And I want to say thank you for listening of this video, and I will link below the article, and have a good one.